Well, hey there, Happy Innovators. How are you all doing today, huh? Are you shoveling snow yet? I am. It's snowing here in Massachusetts. You know, it's that time of year. And I'm sitting in my studio right now, this bright and early morning, with a hot cup of coffee in my hand, and I'm ready to sit down and do a Singularity podcast today. And what I want to share with you today in the Singularity podcast is a letter that I received from one of my listeners, one of my fans, and they had asked me a few questions in this email that they had sent me, and I decided that with this podcast today, I would sit down and I would answer those questions right here, right now. So I guess I should probably start out with reading you the letter that he wrote to me, the initial bit of communication we had, and it goes a little something like this. By the way, this letter is from Rod from Otago, New Zealand. And so here we go. Michael, I am extremely honored to say that I have been a longtime fan of pipe choir and pipe choir related projects and experiments since the release of Ad Astra Volume 1 back in 2014. I cannot stress how mind-blowing your music is. Thank you. You are the only artist I know that can stretch the very concept of music to its limits and subsequently push it further and further with meaningful experimentation. Now, that's really cool. Thank you very much. Pure sonic bliss throughout your entire readily available discography. I just wrapped up listening to the entirety of Honest Wave Experiment number 33, and I can reaffirm that pipe choir and the work created by you solely is consisted of nothing but masterpieces. Hey, thank you very much. Thanks, man. I am so sorry for mindlessly fanboying, but I love your music so much I can't even put it into words. Dream On just takes me somewhere else, possibly my favorite song of all time. It is made up of unmatchable beauty. Every time I listen to this, I am reminded of the last time I listened to it, usually only a few months ago. Listening to this song is like unlocking a checkpoint that you will always remember, even if you have heard it many times before. The version of Dream On recently featured on the Singularity podcast caused my brain to form so many questions about the song, just from that embryonic demo. Your music, truly amazing. I am certain I have listened to everything available, hours of my life engaged in the art that you have produced. I could go on and on about the minute details of your music for ages, but I have no one to share it with. I would kill to interview you and ask you questions about the journey throughout your musical pastime via live stream. I have so many built-up questions unanswered in relation to the beautiful work you have produced. I really hope, if you are up to an interview and a Q&A with an eager fan, that this could be arranged. Of course, this is just an offer, and, what I'd imagine, pretty annoying one on your end. Thank you for your amazing art. Well, as you notice, at the end of that letter, he had asked me if I would be willing to do an interview with him via live stream. And, I don't want to do any kind of interviews or anything like that right now, especially like live stream. However, I love to answer questions, okay? So rather than, taking him up on the offer to do a live stream interview, what I decided to do was just go right ahead and, feature this letter in this podcast today and answer the questions right here, right now. And, I had contacted Rod from New Zealand about this. I thanked him for the letter because it was really nice. A lot of nice things that he said. And it's not lost on me. I like to hear nice things as opposed to bad things. And I did tell him that, while I wouldn't be into doing a live stream interview, I would however, welcome any questions that he has, and I would answer them for him in a podcast. Now, I gotta say to all the people listening to this right now, I love to make music, right? I mean, obviously, but what I love almost as much, maybe sometimes even more, is like talking about music and talking about my music, especially. Okay, so right here at this point, I want to just make the offer to anybody. If you ever have any questions for me about anything that I've created over the past few years or whatever, if you have any questions for me, you should feel free to shoot them to me at pipechoir@gmail.com. That's pipechoir@gmail.com. Okay? I will answer any questions you have for me, like I'm about to answer these questions right now. So after I had thanked Rod for this letter, he shot me a few more questions that he would like to ask me. And so I'm going to start out with reading you what he wrote me. Okay. The song On Axis. I know that you are not the type to rank your music or consider works better than others, but surely this must be one of your favorite works of all time. I can count 4 or 5 very, very diverse and incredibly different versions of the song. I've noticed through the years that you have creatively reimagined your older tracks in multiple different styles. Now, first of all, I gotta say, that is true, especially with the song On Axis, and I've explained it before. The song On Axis, to me, is just an example, only one example, of one song that I have that I've decided to make multiple versions of for whatever reason. And, I have explained this before in previous podcasts, but I'll explain it again for you right now. I am a musician, yes, that's true. And I am a singer-songwriter, yes, that's true. But before any of that stuff, okay, what you guys have got to understand, or you've got to realize, is that I'm an artist first, okay? And I am making art with sound, okay? That's how I see it. That's what I'm known for, and that's what I want to be known for. So I take liberties with whatever songs I have, however I want to, and, according to my whim, So, I will have several versions of songs sometimes. Sometimes it's because I want to reinterpret the song a different way. Sometimes it's because I think that I can improve the song or the sound recording of that song some way. And I reserve the right to do that. I will do that forever. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I've always thought it was kind of foolish, or, it doesn't make any sense to me that a group will go into the studio and record a song once and that's it. They'll never revisit that song again. Maybe they'll do it live, or like a live version or something, or a reprised version of the song, but they won't go back and take another swing at it. And that's probably, at least from my best estimation, based on that old system, the old recording contract record label system, where artists were, indentured servants to their record company. So the record company was not going to pay money, for them to go back in and record something that was already making money for them, But as you know, I don't belong to that system, nor will I ever, probably. And, I'm free I'm free to do whatever I want to do with my songs. So I will do whatever I want to do with my songs. And I'm proud of that. And I think that that's really kind of what my fans expect of me. Okay, so I don't have any problem, taking a song like On Axis and doing, 50 versions of it. I'll do however many versions of it that I want. And, I don't even need a good reason to do it. It's just, that's what I'm going to do, And I would like to think that my audience appreciates that about what I'm doing and that sense of freedom, that what you're getting from me, pipe choir, PC1, PC3, anything that I'm doing, that you're getting, real art. Like, it's not forced by anyone. I don't answer to anyone. I do exactly what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, where I want to do it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So the next bullet point from Rod, he says, I'd love to hear some more about the amazing track Dune Wander. I know you did an album analysis a while back of Ad Astra Volume 1, but there's some more about Dune Wander I'd love to know. Like these biblical-esque lyrics. It adds some ancient, sacred vibe to the entire song, nicely paired with the title Dune Wander. Those guitar effects are extremely unique. It sounds like a lot of chorus and reverb. When was this one written and subsequently recorded? I can imagine a shorter, heavier version of this fitting right into Pipe Choir, a track that for sure stands out in the PC3 album lineup. I love it. Okay, I could talk about Dune Wander a little bit here. I think that Dune Wander was written probably in the year 2012 or the year 2013. It was a song that I had decided I wanted to do in the style of old blues kind of thing, like this group called the Masters of Reality. They have a song called Doraldina's Prophecies. It's a song that I've liked a lot for a long time, and I wanted to do something like that, and I consciously, sat down, and I think I put the drums down first for Dune Wander, that ba-boom, ba-cha, ba-boom, boom-cha, boom-boom, a blues kind of beat, and I started from there, and I started to add music, and the name Dune Wander is really just kind of this idea of the ocean and the beach, the sea and the shore, like a metaphor for my life, okay? And I sing about it a lot, I use that imagery a lot, and that's probably why, because it's a metaphor, I think, for my life. And this idea of wandering the dunes, of the beach, like, if you've ever been on a beach alone, when there's nobody around, I mean, it's really kind of a magical environment. You're in solitude, but there's all this action around you, and this, massive body of water, and these dunes with all these animals there, and just the wind and the sounds and everything. It's a magical place, and that's kind of like, what I'm talking about with this song and with the title Dune Wander, wandering the dunes of the beach all by myself, walking through this life alone. Okay, really, that's what it's about. So, lyrically, that's what I'm talking about. Does it sound biblical or sacred in some kind of way? I don't know. Apparently it does to some people, and I don't mind that, because there's a part of me that is like that. So if that came out through the lyrics or whatever, what I'm singing about, that's cool. Like, I like that. That's cool that you got that from that. As far as the guitar sounds are concerned, if you really wanted to know technically what I'm using on that song in particular, the guitar sound in Dune Wander is wah-wah pedal. It's kind of like this pedal that changes the phase of your guitar sound and kind of gives it that sound like that, like that kind of sound. It takes the guitar signal and changes it like that, you know, when you step on it with your foot. And so what I did was I just had the wah pedal set up to, you know, certain settings, and so it was, you know, configured a certain way, and when I played the guitar through it, that's what it sounded like. And I've used that sound a lot, actually, you know, this kind of wild, whacked out sounding wah that's going crazy, you know. Actually, if you listen to my song I just released, the Aegis Destroyer, I use that wah pedal actually on my keyboard, okay, and it gives me that sound. So that's what that is. It's and of course I do use some chorus and flanger and reverb on my guitar, you know, and I throw that into the recipe sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But one thing is for sure, with the PC3 music and sometimes with the pipe choir music as well, a lot of it is saturated with, you know, digital delay and echo and reverb. I use those things a lot, probably more than most artists do. You know, I soak my music in that stuff. I saturate it so that it becomes, at least in my opinion or from my perspective, it becomes a little more abstract, you know, a little more, you know, kind of like smeared, you know, like when you take a piece of chalk and you make a line and then you take your finger and you run your finger over that line of chalk and it kind of smooths it out, feathers it out, and then you run your finger over it again and it makes it even more feathered out and even more smooth. You know, that's kind of what I'm doing with my guitar sounds a lot of the time. That's how I get that sound. So if you're a young guitar player out there, you know, and you're trying to figure it out, you know, get a wah pedal, set the settings of your wah pedal to some, you know, extremes, you know, experiment, play around, and like I have, and come up with something you like, you know, and that's exactly what I did. It's, you know, the best way. You throw away the manual, you know, you don't need to follow the rules. Just plug it in and start playing around with it. That's how I always do it. And that's how I got the guitar sound for Dune Wander. And, you know, I did mention in a podcast before that the guitar line that you hear in Dune Wander was all done in like one take. You know, I sat down, I pressed record, and I just played that without practicing, without rehearsing, without doing a dry run or anything. That was just what came out in the moment, and that's the song. And that doesn't happen all the time. That was one of the only times that ever happened. So, just a little bit of extra information there. And what am I singing about in Dune Wander? Well, you know, I'm kind of giving you, the listener, the rundown of kind of the way things had been going for me for a number of years. And a lot of it is in code. So, you know, we were washing in the water. You know, we were singing to the trees. It's all imagery and poetic and in code. And I could sit here and break it down for you phrase by phrase, but I don't want to do that. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm saying. We were washing in the water. We were dancing in the streams. You know, this idea of water, it's a spiritual thing, a spiritual symbol, and of course the trees are a spiritual symbol. I mean, all that stuff. So I guess the fact that Rod from New Zealand got that from the song, got that from what I was singing, that's cool. It's cool. So the next thing is Ad Astra 1 was released paired with the description of background concentration music for studying. What was the reason for this? The following Ad Astra releases imply the listening holds up on its own, in which, of course, all of your work does. Did you fear the repetitive nature of the, well, what is really a bonus track, 2-hour yes, would receive criticism from those who followed you from the pipe choir days, if not under this sort of background music aura? Another anomaly is that I consider Ad Astra 1 to be perhaps the most different and alternative rock-based album from the PC3 project, and furthest distanced from the ones after. When did the idea for Honest Wave come into power? I see Ad Astra 1 as pipe choir compositions with extreme length and a different, tighter drum sound. Okay, so let's see here. The background concentration music for studying. What you have to kind of remember is that at the time that I was starting to release Honest Wave music, you know, the first cuts that I did, like 2020 Vision and Try and all that stuff, this music was not being done really by anybody that I knew of. Okay? And, you know, in order for it to be found or to be used by people, you know, often I would have to put things under this title of background concentration music, or music for studying, or, you know, study music, or, you know, that kind of thing, because there was not really you know, as much of an audience like there is right now for this kind of music. So I was just really using that name or using that description and making playlists like that. One is like a way to introduce it to people that had never heard it before, but also for that smaller group of people that were looking for study music, you know, this would clue them in that that's what this is. And that had a lot to do with a lot of the success that I had earlier on with this kind of stuff. I mean, it's really extreme, you know, a very long and repetitious music. So, you know, there are some people out there that will never be able to listen to this music and get it. Like, they'll never get it, you know. But there are some people who hear it and they get it right away and they use it, you know, they take it. And, you know, that's obviously, you know, the person that I'm writing this music for. So that's why I had the titles on my playlists, like background concentration music for studying. You know, was I worried about the people, you know, disliking the repetitive nature of some of my music? Sure, I'd say yeah, that was something that I had at least considered, you know. You know, it's a lot to ask of some people to listen to something that's very repetitive, but, you know, of course you have to remember that this was before, you know, I was even aware that there was a, you know, sometimes even clinical use for my songs that were long in duration, you know, hours long and repetitive, that there are, you know, pockets of society, you know, people with Asperger's disease, people with autism that listen to this music and for one reason or another, they like it. Okay, it's a clinical thing. And, you know, there was no way that I could ever predict that that would ever happen. Like, when I was making these songs for the first time, there was, like, you know, it wasn't like I sat down and said, now I will write a song that children with Asperger's disease will be able to benefit from. You know, I mean, how could I know that? I didn't. You know, the only thing you can do is just go ahead and do it just to do it. put it out there and watch how people absorb it, And then, of course, now, almost 10 years later or whatever it is, a decade later, I see what it is. Like, I can see it for what it is. And I can take my findings, from my experiment that I started back in the day with these long duration songs, this honest wave music, and I can refine my experiment and carry on with it, probably until the day I die. That this idea of honest wave, which started probably in 2014. I have explained it before in podcasts, but I'll explain it again. I had a lot of people that would ask me what kind of music that I made. And I'd say, well, I'd start to describe it. This is really long music, blah, blah, blah. And they'd say, well, then it's new age music. No, it's not new age music. Okay. Is it like drone music? No, it's not drone music. Although I do that sometimes, but not all the time. I had to kind of come up with a term that was my own, that would define what I was doing in a way. Like, I could make the definition. I could just tell people what it was, and they could go look it up, or they could hashtag honest wave and then see what the definition is, and there you go. I mean, I really started to get frustrated with that, because people would ask me and they just didn't get it, and so I came up with this term, honest wave. Why honest wave? Because I felt like it. Like, it's just what came into my head. That's what it's called. That's what it is. Bam! I said it's that. I put down the definition, and then I went on to, break the Guinness World Record with it. So then it became a thing, and people started to talk about this genre of music called honest wave. And I've had other artists ask me if they can, use the honest wave style, and it's like, of course you can. It's like, even though I thought of the name, even though I started the genre, okay, technically, I don't own it. You can go ahead and you can make your own honest wave music. It's music that's 15 minutes or longer, and usually is a little more subdued, a little more chilled, but it's not new age music. No, it's not that. Sometimes it takes on elements of that, but sometimes it takes on elements of heavy metal or rock or whatever. You're free to go and look up the definition for honest wave. I provided it for you so you can read it, and that's where it came from. It was like out of a need to be able to describe what I was doing to people quickly without wasting a bunch of time talking about it, So there you go. That's what it was. As far as Ad Astra 1, being different than Ad Astra 2 and 3, I don't know. Maybe I guess I would have to sit down and listen to it again. I mean, with each body of work that I engage in and I try to, make happen, there's a certain amount of this thought or this idea that I want to do it differently than I did last time. Am I going to do it different in any way? What will I be doing differently with this one? What will I do? What's the approach? I always try to do something different when I'm creating music ideas. Even right now, I try to think, okay, am I doing something, at least one thing in this song or this thing I'm working on that I've never done before? It might be something really small, nobody will ever notice, but it's there, I know it's there, and I know that I did something different. I usually or almost never do things that are exactly the same way. I try to refine my procedure. I try to do it differently each time, So Ad Astra 1, Ad Astra 2, Ad Astra 3, they have their similarities, of course, and a lot of that music was recorded at the same time. But with each album, I really did try to make them a little bit different and reimagine them. So you have something like Ad Astra 1, being song for song, just an album of songs. And then you have something like Ad Astra 3, where it's one continuous play album with star points where you can jump from track to track. But really, if you press play, all the songs kind of just run into each other. There is no stopping and starting. It just flows from beginning to end. I tried to do something different, right? So I wouldn't say that Ad Astra 1 is better than Ad Astra 2 or Ad Astra 3 or anything like that, but they are different, and that's intentional. And if you feel, Rod, if you feel that Ad Astra 1 stands out, well, that's interesting to me. I guess I'll think about it, and maybe I'll go back and listen to it and see if I can see it your way, Thank you for saying all the things that you said about it. Okay, so what else do we got here from Rod? The final question, or the final bullet point here. What are your thoughts on the very long PC3 compositions being the music you are most well known for? Do you ever think that some people might disregard your incredible music as novelty? Of course, In the Garden is absolutely mind-blowing, but I see a surprising amount of joking or criticism in relation to the piece in the comments. Although The Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova contains almost your entire discography, it is a fantastic listening experience. It's so much to take in, and the reward for listening to it is just a euphoric, awakening feeling. But then again, I see people treat your music as novelty and as a challenge to try and listen to the world's longest song challenge. What are your thoughts on this? Of course, it brings publicity and may prompt further listening of your music, but if I was in your position, I would find this kind of narrative a bit discouraging. Do you feel this way? Okay, what I would say to that is, if anybody ever listens to anything I ever do, that's like a miracle to me. Okay? If people want to make it like a game out of trying to listen to The Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova by, PC3, if they want to make it like a game to see if they can get through it all and all that kind of stuff, I love it. I think it's hilarious. It does help, promote the music and everything. And, I guess maybe that kind of stuff, like the PC3 stuff, is what I'm most known for. And I don't mind that, because it's all really music made by me. And then, also too, there's this idea that you have to kind of realize that, if somebody finds me because of The Rise and Fall of Bossa Nova or any of the other kind of, Guinness World Record stuff I did or whatever, ultimately, if they're really interested in what they're hearing, they start to see that I make other things. And I have more than a few fans or listeners that, not only find it interesting to listen all the way through, any of my longer Honest Wave songs, they find it interesting to go down what they call, I guess, the Michael J. Bostwick or pipe choir rabbit hole. There's like all this stuff that I've made, and I love that more than anything else. I mean, that's why I do this. I have so many different things I've done that are, creative, and some are better than others. And I know you said earlier on, Rod, in these questions that, I'm not the type to rank my music or consider some works better than others, but that's not true. I do think some of my stuff is better than others, but, truthfully, that changes for me. From time to time, my tastes change, my viewpoint changes on something that I made a few years ago. Maybe having a little bit of time between me and something I made, it allows me the opportunity to see it with fresh eyes or hear it with fresh ears, So, I do have favorites, and I do have some I don't like so much. And, most of the artists that you hear will never admit that to you because they want to sell you, all of their songs. They don't want to just sell some of them. And as you already know, if you've been paying attention to me, even for a short period of time, I'm not doing any of this for money, okay? That's not the motivation here, okay? So, I do it just to do it, because I love doing it. And I would like to think that my fans, my happy innovators, that are out there, some of them really like that idea of digging through all the things that I've done. And they don't mind listening to longer songs. They don't mind all the crazy ideas I have. And I love it. I love it. Like I said earlier, I'm a musician and I love to make music. I really do. It's a lot of fun and it's challenging. And I've been doing it since I was a child. I've been making music since I was a child. And I never stopped. I just kept going, But there's a part of me that really enjoys the idea, okay, of being known as an artist as much or maybe more so than being a musician. That means more to me than money. That means more to me than fame. That, if I ever make any kind of dent in any kind of musical whatever in the world ever, that it would be as an artist and not shaking my ass and, trying to be sexy or something, it's or trying to blow you away with my, technical prowess on the guitar or something. It's that's not appealing to me at all. I would much rather be, lumped into the world of people like, Brian Eno or, Bjork or Kraftwerk. You know what I mean? I'm more in that kind of thinking. That means more to me than dollars do, or praise, or fame, or celebrity, or whatever. I'm just grateful that anybody's listening to anything I do ever. So there you go. And that, my friends, is what I'm going to wrap up this podcast with. I'm going to say thank you to Rod, again, from New Zealand. And I want to say thank you also to all my happy innovators out there that gave me the well wishes about my dad passing away. It means a lot to me that you reached out to me and said something. So thank you, all of you. We may not meet each other in person, but some of you are really good friends, good people. And I also want to kind of extend the invitation once again to anybody who's listening to this podcast. If you ever have any questions for me at all, even if they're not about music, they might be about something political, they might be about something social, whatever. Or it could be, an honest wave song I did back in the day. Whatever it is that you have a question about, you should always feel free to write to me at pipechoir@gmail.com. That's PIPECHOIR, all lowercase letters, at gmail.com. And I will answer your questions. And just like I did for Rod. So thank you one and all, my happy innovators. Have a great weekend. I'll be talking to you very soon. And remember, folks, if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy. Okay, so you know what I've decided to do today? In lieu of this letter that I received from one of my happy innovators named Rod from New Zealand, I decided that what I'm going to share with you today is the song Dune Wander, but this time, in honor of Rod, I'm going to give you a description of the song as it plays, kind of like I do with the album descriptions or like I do with Mike TV, something like that. So without further ado, as a sign of gratitude to this happy innovator of mine from halfway across the planet, here we go, is a breakdown of the song Dune Wander. Started out with that blues drum beat, like I said, you know, boom, 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 cha, boom, 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 cha. And I'm just kind of doing like, you know, random speaking and whispering, and, you know, not a whole lot of thought went into what I was saying. It was really more for like effect, you know. I think at some point in the past I went back and I isolated the whisper track on this to figure out what I was saying, and it was really just a bunch of nonsense. But you know, at the time I was recording this, I wasn't sure how many people were going to even care, you know, what I was saying, you know, just breathing and whispers and weird kind of things, you know. And there's that guitar that I was talking about. Just the wah pedal I have was set to these wild, you know, parameters, and that gives it that weird sound. And I played that guitar that you're hearing right now. I played it straight through. I didn't rehearse it. I improv'd the whole thing, and I wound up keeping almost all of it. And that bass line you hear, I think I did that actually on a guitar. It's not on a bass. Yeah, these lyrics are kind of like introspective. Yeah, this idea of probably of like, you know, everybody around me talking to me like they knew more than I did, you know, about life or something, and, you know, teach me. Yeah, you know so much. Teach me. Go ahead, teach me. Come on. We were sleeping in a wilderness of broken-hearted dreams. And the world you want is this. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's where I'm coming from, like a criticism, and I don't know. I mean, it was so long ago now. I dream and I fall, I dream and I fall. That's what I'm saying there with that tremolo on my voice. You know, just kind of going for it, not having any real direction or message that I wanted to send, just kind of, you know, stepping up to the microphone and letting it all just come out, you know. Everything you borrow, every dream you doubted, everywhere you wander, every lie you swallow. Come on. You know, it's like going back and forth, like, I should have probably said everything we think, everything we follow, everything we were dancing in the flames. All the souls that were deceived. I mean, I suppose I'm talking about some pretty heavy stuff. Walk on, keep going, keep wandering. You know, it's like almost, I guess, like I'm wandering the dunes, right, on the beach, and I stop and I observe something. I make a statement about it, then I continue to walk. I walk on, you know, to the next thing. I think that's the idea that I was going for. Again, that guitar with that weird, you know, wah-wah kind of. I think that's kind of an allusion to war, you know, combat, that kind of thing. The things that you believe, only what you want to see. Come on. Let's walk on. Go on to the next thing. Wander the dunes. Yeah, I think kind of like speaking to or like defining that line between, you know, the people who have faith and believe and the people who don't. You know, a lot of the time, you know, people who believe in the Bible and believe in Jesus Christ as their Savior, you know, they see the world differently than people who don't believe. And they always kind of see it from a place of like, this is the end of it all, like we're at the end. But I don't always think so. History. Well, this part is pretty cool. I have to say, I like this part of the song a lot. Pretty cool music space to be in. Forgive me, you know, reflective, you know, introspective, you know. I like this part. It's pretty cool. It kind of just naturally emerged, you know. Started with a drum beat and started to add music, and like this is what came out. Pretty cool. Screaming. Just thinking of words. thinking of interesting things to say. Hear me. Praying, hear me. Or maybe I'm singing it to you. Hear my song. Or hear me. Breathing. Alive. Living a life. Breathing. Fill me. Okay? That's a spiritual thing. Fill me with the Holy Spirit. Fill me. Fill me up. Dreaming. Always dreaming. Always. Pretty cool music. Kiss me. Love. Affection. Passion. Mystery. Most women are a mystery. Most women are mysterious in their own way. Teach me. I'm open to learn. I'm open to learning. I want wisdom. I want knowledge. Reaching. Think about that word. Reaching for something. Whatever it is. Whatever your ambitions are. See me. Probably singing that to the people around me. To see me, to see what I really am like. Again, dreaming, always dreaming. See me dreaming, because that's what all of this stuff is. Show me. Yeah, probably a reference to Our Lady of Sorrows, showing me what's really happening around me. Counting. Let's see. Probably a reference to past indiscretions, counting the things I did wrong as opposed to the things I did right. Forgive me for things I've done wrong. Pretty basic, Christian request. Falling, yeah. The Christian belief that humans are always in this state of falling, a perpetual state of being fallen. We need to be saved. I'm falling. Catch me. Catch me. Save me. Take me. As funny as that sounds, that's a reference to T-Rex when he says, take me, at the end of Bang a Gong. My wife and I laugh about that every time we hear it. But I'm kind of turning it into something a little somber, like take me home. Take me home. I missed my family and the city I was from, and it was on my heart all the time, and I'm saying it. Take me home. I want to go home again. And of course, I could never go home again. It was not going to be the same ever again. Oh well, that's life, Take me home. Time changes things. Time changes even things like home. Home. That word, home. 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 It's like I think that Jim Morrison from The Doors expounded on that idea once, and it kind of stayed in my mind. This idea of going home, or not being able to go home, or what is home? What is home? You know, it's a big question. Everything you wanted. Everything you say. While wandering the dunes. Everything you wish for. Every breath you fake. A take on the police. Every breath you take, but every breath you fake. Everyone you paid for. Earned. Everything you paid for, everything you earned. There's a difference. Everything you borrowed. Everyone you burned. The idea of, you know, how did you get what you have? Is it ill-gotten gains? You know, is it? Did you really deserve it? Did you really earn it? Or did you steal it? Did you take it? It matters how you got what you got. While wandering the dunes, you know. Every lie you whisper. Everything is true. It's introspective. Everything you question. Everything you think. Every pill you swallow. Red pill, blue pill. Every drop you drink, yeah. The party aspect of existence. Everything you ponder, everything you think about while you walk the earth. Everything you speak comes out of your mouth. Every dream you doubted. Every proof you seek. Everywhere you wander. Really, everywhere alone, ultimately, really. Everything you wanted. Everything but home. Back to that idea. Home. Everywhere but where you really want to be. You can have anything you want in this world, but you can never have home. Again, you know. Weird. It's a weird thing. Hence the idea of wandering, right? This idea of not having a home anymore, you know. And that, you know, that sound that's going ding ding ding. It's like a plinking kind of sound. That's from my guitar. That's another one of those little noises I made, and I looped it throughout the song. And that wah pedal is still on the guitar. I'm still... Take me. A reference to T-Rex. Take me. We laugh about that. My wife and I laugh about that because it's just such a goofy thing for him to say at the end of that song. He's like, take me! you know. We both just laugh. So, you know, as weird as that sounds, it's kind of like a bit of humor in this, you know. Take me home. But I am seriously, you know, singing that. It's not a joke when I'm singing it, but it is like my wife hears it and then looks at me, and we both just smile at each other because she knows why I'm saying it like that, where I'm saying it, you know. But it is truthfully, you know, what I was singing about was the desire to go home. And I think that home might be like heaven, you know, like take me home, take me out of this, you know. Particularly difficult time emotionally for me. Like take me home, take me out of this. I think I end the song on the word home. You know, this stuff was really on my heart too. Like, you know, if it was coming out like this in a song, it was something that I was feeling. You know, I didn't have to dig too deep to get it like this. Yeah, I think I end with the word home right here. Home. Get it? Okay, so there you go. Rod, I, you know, wanted to say thank you for all the attention that you gave my music and the time you took to write out the questions that you did. And that was my tribute to you. So that was on your behalf. And, you know, I would at this moment want to invite any of my happy innovators that are listening to this. If there's ever any questions that you have, you know, like I said before, if you ever have any questions for me about my music or anything that I've made, I'll tell you what, I love answering questions about my music and my art more than pretty much anything else that I do. You know, I can answer questions all day long. I love talking about music almost as much as I like making music, and I love to talk about my music especially. It's a lot of fun, and I'm just so happy that anybody even cares enough to ask. So the deepest gratitude to all of you that are listening to this, especially Rod from New Zealand. And I hope that you all have a great holiday season. And I'm pretty sure I'll be releasing a podcast, you know, before too long. But just in case I don't, you know, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all. But I'm pretty sure I'll be giving you something else. So until next time, my happy innovators, take it easy, peace out, have fun, be safe, and don't cause too much trouble. Okay? Talk to you later. Later. Later.